On weigh-in this morning, a backyard celebration for Tiako, who trained 2 stakes winners on their home track at Matamata. Just in case you didn't already know, this gelding might be one to watch. Chris Shailer is with us to discuss his training success in the slipper. 2 gigs done very well. Sophie Price goes from clerk of the course to winning trainer, all in a day's work. And where to look across the ditch as the Stars come out to play at Flemington and Royal Randwick. A very good morning to you. Welcome into Weigh-In, as always, on your Sunday. Good to have your company as we look back at what was a wet but successful day down at Matamata, and a fantastic day's racing across the ditch where we saw some stars really shine. Murphy and Aidan Rodley in studio. As I say, the track played a little bit of havoc, but still some really good performances at Matamata.
Yeah, we saw some lovely horses, didn't we, on course at Matamata, and it was an enjoyable day here in New Zealand, Aidan. But for me, that Australian action, we've had no Australian racing, and then suddenly we've had an autumn launch because we saw some sensational horses step out, and it only builds the excitement for what's to come.
It really does, and there's some terrific performances, but boy, it's starting to start heating up here in the next few weeks. Obviously, Matamata Breeders' Stakes Day, we saw two-year-olds now that will head probably to Sistema Stakes at Kiwi Day. We got the announcement yesterday, plus build up next week with we saw some horses gallop yesterday that'll head to the Group 1s, and then next weekend 2 Group 1s, 2 Group 2s, and then into LSC. So it is really starting to build here in New Zealand. It
certainly is, and we can start with our review of yesterday's racing by looking back at the Matamata Breeders, won impressively by Lara Antipova.
Her form's terrific. She's had a little freshened since today's assignment, and she sits at $1.40. As I said, Aidan, it's hard to tip against her with what we've seen so far with just that unknown on the wet ground.
She's obviously looking pretty perky. They've got the assistant trainer there, Reece Trumper, on the offside there, just so they've got 2 strappers on her. But yeah, like you say, it's really strong form. It was a winner by 8 on debut, out an easy 4.5 length winner of the Group 2 Wakefield Stakes, and that day at Trentham Lassified was 4th, so that form's really stacked up well, and it's hard to knock her form.
She hasn't put a foot wrong the whole time she's been at the races, and she had a nice little break after Wellington, but obviously the track today, you're fresh up without a trial into it, so you are a little bit vulnerable, yeah.
Well, if she can handle the track, she looks the obvious one, doesn't she? She's been so impressive in her 2 starts to date. Lara Antipova, she's short enough, $1.35, Opie aboard. A few factors in her favour. Flagship race here for the Matamata Racing Club. The 2-year-old fillies are ready to rock and roll. Gates are back and they're off. Shade slow as Hawiya in the early stages. First away, Sugar Lump, followed by Encuentro. Going forward also is Bella Bonita from over on the inside. Is State the Obvious. Now Lara Antipova, she's steadily making her way towards the top, and back at the tail of the field is Hawiya. Homeward bound, 2:50 to go. Lara Antipova opened up by 2 lengths from Encuentro, and then followed by Hawiya. Gap back to State the Obvious. It's Lara Antipova at the 150. She's 3 lengths in front from Encuentro and Hawiya, and then State the Obvious. 3 from 3 for Lara. Lara Antipova cruises it in.
Just a class above, good positive intent from Opie Boston. He was keen to be able to get to the rail and really try and control this race. He did that, and on the point of the bend, he had handfuls and was able to release her through the wet ground, and she was just too good for her opposition, taking out the J-Swap contractors, Matamata Breeders.
She jumped out, and Opie sort of summed it up for a while. He sort of kidded to them a little bit, and then once they all eased, then he just took over, and he sort of travelled up pretty nicely, so we thought at the top of the straight it'd take a good one to run her down, and you just weren't sure without a trial coming into it, but yeah, she's a very good filly.
Yeah, she's a very special filly. Wasn't 100% in the ground, and she had a little bit of a stumble turning in, but that actually made her pick the bit up a little bit more and got up underneath me, but she's pure class.
Yeah, she's pretty impressive, all right. Lara Antipova, 3 from 3 now, and that was done in fine style, winning the Matamata breeders from Te Encuentro, Hawea and State. The obvious Sam Bergerson out of Te Akau is with us now on weigh-in. Sam, always appreciate your time jumping on. What's your sense of just how good this girl might be?
Yeah, she's pretty special. It's sort of hard to know where her ceiling is at the moment. She just keeps getting better and better, and she's just been faultless the whole way through. Right from day dot, she's shown us plenty of talent, and she's certainly learning what it's all about and getting better and better. So, yeah, really exciting times ahead for the team.
Sam, she's shown how versatile she is, because now she's ticked off a wet track and she seems to be pretty bulletproof. Tell us about her behind the scenes and what she shows you at home and what she's like to train.
Yeah, like I say, she's gotten better and better. She's always shown us plenty of talent, and actually she was a little bit cantankerous early on in her sort of first couple of preps. She managed to butt Grillsy off one day at the jump outs and actually broke his finger. So she hasn't been straightforward the whole way through, but she's always been talented the whole way through, and can't thank the team at home enough for the job they've done with her. And nowadays she's just really professional and just such an athlete as well, and she certainly knows what she's there for. She's actually quite laid back now at home in terms of track work, but we took her for an exhibition gallop there at Tauranga the week before leading into Saturday, and she certainly knew what she was there for. And then again yesterday, you see she got on the toe and she was sort of ready to fire. So she's going the right way.
Sam, you've been associated with a number of good 2-year-olds from the Te Akau barn. How do you think she compares to some of those big names that we've seen previously?
Yeah, it's like I say, it's sort of hard to know where her ceiling is, but at this stage, I think she could potentially be the best. She's just so natural, and like I say, just an athlete, and the turn of foot when they the jockeys ask her, she just can switch up gears like no other, and it's just she just keeps getting better and better. So fingers crossed she can continue to, and potentially she could be the best.
Sam, one thing, she was able to handle the rain-affected track conditions yesterday. Is she better, and if so, how much better, on better footing?
Yeah, we think, probably class got her through there yesterday, and she just, got through it on talent and ability. I think, her actions suggest, the good ground certainly does suit her a bit better, and probably, that was shown in her debut effort and at Trentham as well. So, certainly looking forward to Ellerslie in 3 weeks' time. Should be a good track there, fingers crossed. It's obviously hard to know what the spring and the summer we've had in the weather, but excited to see her at Ellerslie.
You spoke about her being maybe a little bit more tractable. Does that make the lead up into that Sicily mistakes a little bit easier this time round with her? Yeah,
for sure. Like, she can have a quiet week now. I suppose it was a shame it was a wet track there yesterday, but the beauty of it was her home track. So she was in the box not long after the race, and having a good look at her there this morning, she's pulled up super. She's bright as a button, so certainly can't falter, and like I say, she is going the right way.
Sam, as you mentioned, obviously the immediate future is that Group 1 at Ellerslie in a couple of weeks' time. Mark spoke yesterday about some potential Australian assignments. What could they be in the near future?
Yeah, we'll get through Ellerslie and sort of work it out from there. She is nominated for the Percy Sykes, which could be a nice race to sort of finish off her 2-year-old campaign. Or there's a Group 3 down the straight at Flemington as well. Obviously, a lot of water to go under the bridge, and they are 2-year-olds, and anything can happen in the next few weeks. So, we'll look forward to Ellerslie, and hopefully she can run well there, and we can have some exciting discussions in terms of what's next for her, and then into her 3-year-old season as well.
She's obviously an excitement machine, but it was a stakes double on the card yesterday, wasn't it? My Lips Are Sealed performing well in the Lisa Chinnick Plate as well at some big odds. That's a pretty good training effort by yourself, Sam, to have her ripe for the day and obviously off a little bit of a freshen up. So just talk us through the build-up and what you expected yesterday.
Yeah, it was sort of a bit of a fork in the road moment for her. She had a disappointing spring, and we couldn't really fault her during the spring. So we give her a freshen up and we had the 2 trials leading in, plus an exhibition gallop, so we knew she was really forward and up to the mark, and she ran absolutely super in this race last year behind Legato, so we always were sort of working back from it and just really hoping she could rediscover that form of last season, because she certainly hit form this time last season, and we were hoping for much of the same, and we know she gets through rain affected going, and yeah, it was actually a massive thrill to win that race and see her back. And again, the team at home had done a fantastic job with her and getting her back to her best. And, we certainly thought if she was to be disappointing there yesterday, she was potentially, going to the broodmare paddock. So to see her bounce back and now we can look at some potentially exciting races heading into the autumn as well.
Sam, yesterday you spoke about maybe going Cuddle Stakes. Is that still the plan? And if she does perform, does it bring into contention maybe a crack at a New Zealand Thoroughbred Breeder Stakes?
Yeah, bang on, Aidan. That's the plan. She's a black type winner down there at Trentham over that trip. So it looks like a really nice race. And like you say, if she was to run well there, you'd certainly have a throw at the dice at the Group 1.
And then, Sam, obviously yesterday we saw your announcement around the NZB Kiwi with He Who Dares named in the Tiako slot. Was that a fairly easy decision? What led you towards him?
Yeah, it sort of was in the end. He looked like the logical horse for us. And he's just certainly gone the right way. Obviously, he's probably the one that's got the closest to well written, who certainly is the benchmark, and he is going to have to continue to improve, to knock her off. But he just keeps getting better and better. Like that run in the Crack a Million 3-year-old behind her was super, albeit he was well beaten, but he's really well and truly cleared out from the rest of them, and he gave a great sight, and he just keeps improving. And since the Crack a Million, he's just gone to another level in terms of his training at home, and he's leading in really nicely to the race, albeit, like I say, she's going to be unbelievably hard to knock off. But he's got that good, positive racing style. He races well at Ellerslie. We think the 1500 certainly suits him, and he's got the right prep leading in. So he's certainly going to be a really good chance, and really excited to get him there.
Hey, just lastly, and back to Matamata, Kinnead is obviously a horse who's been well backed last couple of runs. Do you put yesterday just down to the track, or are you maybe starting to scratch your head a little bit about what to do with him?
Yeah, a good question. A bit of both, Guy. He was disappointing there on Crack a Million night, and we were really happy with him leading in, and we were really happy with him leading into yesterday. Obviously, the track was probably heavier than we initially thought earlier on in the day, and Opie certainly thought he was going up and down in one spot, really struggling to get any traction in the ground. Had a good look at him there this morning. He's another one that's come through it well. He's bright as a button, and trotted out really nicely this morning. And it's just sort of what to next, really. Obviously, there's the Sistema or Manawatu, the Manawatu side down at Trentham, or whether he just wants to be 3. We'll just see, what the next sort of 24 hours brings, and have another good team talk and work it out from there. But yeah, scratching our heads a little bit over the last 2 runs.
Sam, on that, obviously out of the blue, ran fairly well there as well, and behind what was a runaway winner. How many could you have going to the 2-year-old race? Obviously, we saw Caesar Day trial really well earlier in the week. How many 2-year-olds could you have in the system?
Yeah, potentially 2 or 3, Aidan. Like, you obviously didn't miss Caesar Day, and really excited for him to make his debut next Saturday at Ellerslie. And if he was to run really well, you'd certainly consider him to head up there on March the 7th. And out of the blue, he's probably another one that's more than likely heading that way. He ran really well in the Crack a Million after blowing the start, and we think he can certainly give a lot of cheek. He really travelled into the race nicely there yesterday, and fortunately, having a good chat to Grillsy post the race, when we let his head go, he just struggled in the ground as well. So yeah, potentially 2 or 3, but obviously then the sort of next week or 10 days will certainly firm up plans for a couple of them.
Sam, obviously, we had a rain-affected track there at Matamata. The rain was obviously just really decimated some of those fields. What was the general feeling about from trainers, especially like we did see a real pattern emerge, and obviously My Lips Seal was one who took advantage of that. What was the feeling from trainers about how the track played there?
Yeah, it's just so frustrating. Like I touched on, the spring and summer, I can't emphasise how hard it has been with the weather in terms of not only race day but preparing the horses to get them to race day. It's been really tough on everyone involved, and it was such a shame for the club. It's obviously the biggest meeting of the year, and they do a fantastic job. Sorry, there's something on in the background there, but. Yeah, they do a fantastic job, and it's such a shame they have such bad luck in terms of the rain they get on race days or leading into race days. And unfortunately, the track certainly fell to bits that last little bit there. And, unfortunately, you can only control what you can control, and the weather's certainly out of our hands. So I think, it was a good race day considering it, and one we certainly look forward to, but just such a shame about the weather.
And one you had a bit of success in as well. Congratulations to you, Sam, and your Te Ako team, and thanks so much for jumping on again. We do appreciate it.
Awesome, guys. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Good stuff. Sam Bergerson there out of Te Ako, and I think we can take a look back at the breeders a little bit more. The Group 2 obviously won, as I say, very impressively by Lara Antipova from T Encuentro, Hawea and State the Obvious. I guess the track was probably the only question because she's a star filly.
She got into the right place. Now, look, she's run the quickest first 400, plus the quickest last 800, 600, 400, 200. Now, on a normal meeting, you think that's really rare. That happened 3 times yesterday, where the horse who's run the quickest first 400 has run the quickest closing 8, 6, 4 and 2. Now, obviously, there was a real advantage to getting to the front and to the inside yesterday, and there was a little bit of criticism around. Obviously, the rains played into that, and you've got to feel for those who are preparing tracks and thinking, we've got it for our big day, and next thing that's gone wrong. But there was an advantage. She took advantage of it. So do we take something away from her a little bit? Because on the ice, she's very impressive, and she had them beaten on the turn, and she was just, kidding to them basically. But there was an advantage there yesterday, and she did take advantage of it.
I think good horses win when they shouldn't win. You've got the track as an excuse. If she hadn't won, you would have said it was the track, and she could have bounced back in the Group 1 at Ellerslie. But good horses overcome things not going their way, which is what she's appearing to be able to do. She shows that she's pretty versatile and very tractable. Yes, it played into her favour, and maybe the margin would have been less. And I'd love to see T Encuentro back at Ellerslie on a good track, because really thought that performance by her at her first race day start was sensational. But she's just doing everything that she needs to do and putting together such a tidy little record. And we know in New Zealand, when we get a good 2-year-old, they can snowball into a huge run of success. Whether that can go on at 3, you never know. But our 2-year-olds, once there is the benchmark 2-year-old, they tend to be able to maintain it.
One thing we see there is that Te Ako have had such dominance in that race. I think the last 5, and I think it's something like 8 of the last 11, which is phenomenal, really. But just to get Sam telling us that, this could be the best that he's been associated with. I've had some really good ones, including Return to Conquer, who won the Sistema last year, and we heard this week he's been now announced as a stallion at Waikato Stud. So there's a bit there as well. Just to go back into those 2 behind, Te Encuentro I thought was really good. She's got so much upside. Hawea missed the start by 3.5, 4 lengths, and has only been beaten roughly that as well. So you just don't know, because she has been put into the race just the way that the track was playing. So, I think the winner could be very, very good, but I wouldn't be riding off the 2nd and 3rd horses as well.
Well, speaking of the ones in behind, we can hear from the beaten jockeys, starting with Craig Grills on board T Encuentro.
Yeah, it's just brave and defeat again too. Had a nice run, sort of just ended up camping up off the winner. Again, she sort of got us off the bridle turning in. I thought I was probably going to drop out of it, but to my filly's credit, she's actually fought on when she's not handling the conditions that well. But she's going to be a nice 3-year-old, this filly in time. So she's definitely going to be one to keep in your black book.
Yeah, super effort. Unfortunately, slow away. Took a little while to get into stride. I opted to sort of just work 3 deep the entire race, so go with the favourite there. And look, she tried her guts out. Probably if she jumps away, she runs second. But black type play, she's going to be a beautiful 3-year-old when she strengthens up a little bit.
The beaten jockeys there out of the Matamata breeders. Lara Antipova beats T Encuentro, Hawea and State the Obvious. We move along To the other race that we've just seen when we were talking with Sam Bergerson. This is the Lisa Chittick Champagne Stakes, won by My Lips Are Sealed, and it was another front-running ride that got the job done.
We talk about the track and playing the track yesterday, and I think Rory Hutchings did a good job of summing up the conditions, putting his horses in the race, and he was able to do that with My Lips Are Sealed, who really bounced back to form in good fashion, and a good training effort to have her ready. Of the beaten horses, I thought Arjamala was really brave, one of the first off the bridle, but still was gutsy enough to get home to place, and Lux Libertas made some good ground. Mary Shan stuck on pretty well. Smart Love, I suppose, was the real disappointment from the race, but I know looking at that steward's report, underwent that veterinary examination, endoscopic examination, and they had soil in the pharynx, which no doubt would have affected her.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, we lost a lot of horses yesterday through scratchings as well. So you take out Belle Cheval, you take out Captured by Lavadalia and Preview, who would all have been players here. So it became a softer race. But she had won the anniversary, or the now Group 3 Far Lap Trophy at Trentham, you know, in summertime, at Group 3 level, 1,600 metres. So she has proven herself, and obviously she handles a wet track. Rory with a really positive ride to take advantage of track conditions. Arjamala, I thought, was terrific, especially late. The quickest closing sectionals were really around Lux Libertas, 8.64 and 100, but Arjamala's last 200 we just rolled past. I thought it was a really good run. And we might see those two horses clash in a Group 3 Cuddle Stakes. Obviously, the other alternative for the fillies and mares is the Westbury Classic on NZB Kiwi Day, which is worth 600,000, and it's a pretty big carrot.
Alrighty, well, I think we might be able to hear from the beaten jockeys out of the Lisa Chittick Champagne Stakes, starting with Matt Cameron.
Yeah, huge run. It was flat, long run. It's a nice little decent tempo, and you know, just caught her napping a bit. She's quite casual about everything, but you know, she ground away nicely and beat a few nice horses. So it's an improving run, second up, so third up should be dangerous.
Yeah, she was brave today again. Popped away good, travelled really nice outside the leader. Just in the going, probably before we straightened up, the lead's been able to sort of kick away on us, got me off the bridle, and she felt like she was coming back at it again, probably 200 out, and then I might have just told the track conditions, but again, she always puts in an honest performance, and she's not far away.
Yeah, she's pretty good to run. She's traveling well on the way, but on the corner she stumbled maybe 2 or 3 times. The track is very, very heavy for her. She enjoyed the track heavy, but today is very, very heavy. It's good finish. Probably she's ready for next time.
My Lips Are Sealed from Arjamala, Mary Shan and Lux Libertas. And Aidan, you've just got a little bit of news around Mary Shan, where she's going.
I'm pretty sure that rather than go and cuddle, they will look to the Westbury Classic with her. Her form's been great. And one of the feedback we were getting from jockeys yesterday was that it actually was a little bit wetter than it actually. It felt more like a heavy 10. It was really playing like that. And Ploy pulled up quickly after the line. It was like the tongue over the bit or swallowed the tongue, so there was a genuine excuse there for her as well. But she came back. You saw, you know, people running down to her, but you know she was fine. And once they got the tongue right, she was all good.
Okay, that's a couple of the features done and dusted out of Matamata. We're going to take a quick break here on Weigh In. On the other side, we look further back on the other races at Matamata.
Fairview Matamata Slipper Group 3 1200, first of our features of the afternoon, worth $150,000. Just in Case was a very good winner here last time out, and it was a soft 7, so there was given the ground. They were positive, went forward, and they were able to beat State of Valor, Chris Shailer, Sam Collett.
Absolutely. I think you take a lot out of what we saw that day. I know it was only a 4-horse tactical race, but just the manner of Just In Case's win was really good. Just like the way that he was able to quicken late and get the best of it. And I thought he won really comfortably.
Really happy with him. He's bounced through Matamata there a couple of weeks back really well. Worked Tuesday morning was super. He paraded well out there, so couldn't be happier.
Last one goes for, that is Just In Case. We're set to go. Fairview Matamata Slipper, gates are back in the race scene, and Just In Case got the best of the start from the outside to lead out from King of the Year. Favourite Kinnaird will settle down third, and last of all is Out of the Blue. For the Fairview Matamata Slipper, they head towards the 450 metres, and the pacemaker is just in case, looming up out wide, and next was out of the blue, right there Kinnaird, and just dropping off them now, King of the Air, down to the 250, it's still just in case, the Tiako pair haven't got it as yet, just in case, coming after now, Kinnaird warming up, then out of the blue, and King of the Air's getting another way on, but just in case is home here in the Fairview Matamata Slipper for Sam Collett and also trainer Chris Shailer, and it bolted into at the line. The winner was off and gone at the 200 metres. Just in case takes out the Fairview Matamata Slipper at Group 3 level.
Yeah, aided by a good positive ride. They were keen to be able to keep pushing on and get to the top with Just In Case. He's jumped strongly, was able to really rip away. This race was in danger for the other three at around about the 600 metre mark, because you can see he was travelling kindly in front, and then he was able to do exactly what he did here last time to the races, increase the tempo and then increase the margin on the rest of the field. And in the end, it's been a real sizable victory for Chris Shailer and the Waikato Stud team.
That's awesome. Look, so wrapped for the whole team, the whole Waikato Stud team, Gary, Mark, Jamie Beatson, who owns half of him. Look, this was the plan back in November after he ran second at Counties, and we just said, look, we'll just put him away for a couple of weeks and give him a little bit of a reset and target him for this race, so stoked.
Yeah, it was obviously very smart. It's ended up just being a pretty small field, but still thought there was, a fair bit of quality there, and he's obviously had to take that next step up from clearing maidens here, and I'm not convinced that the wet track is really ideal for him. Still very untapped. It's quite an exciting horse.
Yes, Just In Case beats Out of the Blue, King of the Air and Kinnaird in the Group 3 Matamata Slipper for the 2-year-old colts and geldings. And Just In Case's trainer Chris Shailer is with us on weigh-in this morning. Chris, thank you very much for jumping on. How satisfying when a plan comes off and you get a really nice win like that?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, very satisfying when the plan comes off. He was just doing everything a little bit wrong early on. So that little couple of weeks in the paddock and just let him have a bit of a reset, and he'd come back a little bit more professional.
Chris, we heard there in that little package we just played in your pre-race interview with Aidan, you spoke pretty confidently about the chances of Just In Case in the race. Did you come into it with some big aspirations, and you sounded like you were in a really good position with where you had the horse?
I was confident in the horse. I wasn't confident myself, but I was confident he was going to run a really good race. His work on Tuesday morning was super. Against the rail on the course proper there, and he gave me the confidence in him that I needed.
What about the wet track? Obviously that sort of changed the complexion of the race completely. Was it sort of dread from you when you saw the rain coming, or were you're pretty buoyed by a little bit of softer footing?
I'm not convinced he loves the wet tracks, but I wasn't too worried after he had won there a couple of weeks ago at Matamata on this heavy 8. But really want to see him on top of the ground again, like in his first start.
Chris, how's the horse this morning?
He's super. He licked the bin last night. He was home in his paddock within the hour after the race, and straight into the biggest puddle he could find, and he's a happy horse.
Are you pressing on now? Do you I don't know whether you've had a chance to talk about it with connections last night, and will you go on to the Systema?
I haven't had a good chat with Mark and Jamie and the team, but I guess it's the next obvious option is to push on to the Systema, so yeah, more than likely.
Tell us a bit of the backstory here, Chris, because obviously races in the Waikato Stud colours, you've got Jamie Beatson in the ownership. How did you end up training this horse, and talk to us about him as a young horse?
Well, he was one of probably 7 or 8 geldings that went to Jamie and Chanel to do a ready-to-run prep, and Jamie sort of identified him early on and said he really liked him, so he rang Mark, and Mark said, well, why don't we have a bit of fun, and you have half, and that's the story.
What about the Banquo sort of side of it? Obviously, he's standing at Waikato Stud. Have you got a few, obviously we know you're a private trainer for the stud. Have you got a few that in your care, Chris?
No, he's the only one. I did have a couple of fillies there earlier on, probably 12 months ago. One went to Australia and hasn't been to the races yet, but he's the only one.
What about your role, Kris? Can you just sort of take us through, your role there at Waikato Stud, how many horses you've got in training, how many horses you've got as pre-trainers for others, and what the normal sort of, pattern of the horses you have in care, where they end up?
We can have between 40 and 80 horses on the farm at any time. Spellers, pre-trainers, and obviously these few race horses, but see myself as a part-time trainer and part-time pre-trainer and a part-time racing manager, which leads to a full-time job. But we sift through them and try and work out whether they're sort of Australia or New Zealand horses and sort of go from there.
What about you personally, Kris? Obviously, you'd won this race before. You've had, I think you've basically been Stephen Orchard's right-hand man through much of his training career. You train a partnership with brother Paul as well. I think you ran second in a Karaka Million. So you got this real affinity with two-year-olds. Just tell us a little bit about your training career.
Yeah, like you said, I basically worked with Stephen Orchard my whole life up until now. Through Te Akau days and early on as apprentice jockey, and then at Valachi, and it's was never the plan to be training when I went out to Waikato Stud. It was just going to be pre-trainers, but Mark said keep your licence. You never know what's going to pop up, and here we are today.
And just lastly, Kris, news during the week that Return to Conquer will stand at Waikato Stud. How pleasing is that news for the farm?
Yeah, that's exciting. Obviously, a very exciting two-year-old. I think all his wins are at base level. So, looks a lovely horse. They say he's got a lovely temperament, and he's going to be an asset to the farm.
Yep, too right he will, and just in case might just well be a pretty good asset for you to have in your hands as well. We appreciate you jumping on this morning, mate. Well done yesterday, and no doubt we'll talk again soon. Go well.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me.
Good man, thank you for jumping on. Chris Shailer there, the trainer of Just In Case, and I think we can take a look further into the race. Obviously a small field, and again, led, and that proved to be part of the difference anyway.
It sure did, really skipped away, and as we heard from Kris, obviously had sort of a little bit of form on the off track, so there was an indication that it was going to handle what was presented yesterday at Matamata. Just really professional, tractable. It was a pretty uncomplicated victory. As we said, controlled the event and kicked away. I think it's probably all the beaten horses that are worth mentioning here as we review the race again. Obviously, Out of the Blue was impacted slightly by an awkward Kinnaird, but I thought stuck on honestly, and Kinnair's just racing a little bit ungenerously again, doing a few things wrong with the head up and sort of not particularly liking being around horses like we saw in the Karaka Million, and perhaps, as we heard from Sam this morning, a bit of a head scratcher, but I just feel there's a bit more furnishing to do with him.
Yeah, absolutely. He's run last in his last two starts, and both times he started really heavily back to favourite, one of those being in a Karaka Million when he's got the blinkers on, yesterday when he's got the blinkers off. So, he was very good in winning the Eclipse Stakes 3 starts back, but he hasn't been anything like that in the last couple. Out of the Blue was okay. King of the Year was a funny run, was up there. So things went wrong, looked as though it was going to be beaten out of sight, then has actually made ground again late. But again, Just In Case, quickest 400, quickest last 800, 600, 400, 200, and it's just taking advantage of a good pattern. But he was superior. He was the best two-year-old in that race yesterday.
I think worth mentioning as well the pedigree. Obviously, Banquo, the first son of Written Tycoon to stand at stud in New Zealand, off a service fee of $3,000. So
wow.
Just shows you these horses can come from anywhere. And the mare, Do Ra Mi, obviously a 1400 metre Group 2 winner herself in Australia, and she was Group 1 performed in Australia. So still a lovely pedigree, but awesome to have a horse like Banquo showing up in a stakes race, and great to hear that they've got Return to Conquer at the farm as well.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Let's hear from the beaten jockeys now from the Matamata Slipper, starting with Craig Grills on Out of the Blue.
Yeah, no, he was brave in the feet, just really didn't cop that heavy track today. He sort of settled just off them in the small field. Tracked into it real nice. When he had a hold of his head, he felt good travelling, but when the leaders got us off the bridle, he just sort of fell in a hole in the ground. But he'll be okay. He's a fair horse in the making.
He did a great job. He was a little bit slow away, and I just tried to use him. I would have loved to lead on the rail, but just didn't have as much speed as the leader, the winner. So I come off the rail, he travelled nice, and just around the corner he come off the bridle and didn't really appreciate the wet track, it felt to me. But he picked himself back up and then run on for third. He's a lovely horse. He feels like a bit of time on his side will really do him a world of good, but he's a good horse going forward.
I thought he was pretty average. Although he wasn't 100% happy in the ground, but he didn't really round it off at all, and I was quite disappointed.
Well, that is both of the 2-year-olds now done that we've taken a look back at Aidan. So obviously 2 different races, but what do the numbers tell us in terms of how they might?
Yeah, well, Stephen Hunt shared his information through to us today, saying basically they're very similar, except Lara Antipova has been a lot quicker in the run home, like 7 lengths he's referring to. And we're seeing that reflected in the market, aren't we, that futures market, that she does, and I think to the eye as well, she was more impressive. But just in case is doing things right, it's good wins in the last couple, and he's going the right way. Obviously, Harvey Warbanger we didn't see yesterday, Liguria was a late scratching yesterday, so too Dashing Dixie coming out of racing. So the picture, I think it's got a little bit clearer, hasn't it, Em?
I'd have to agree with you, yeah. I think Lara Antipova is going to prove very hard to beat in the Sistema Stakes. Maybe a horse like T'Encuentro from that same race back on a better track would be one of the picks, but it looks very hard to beat her. She's not just winning, she's winning effortlessly with more in store. You know, you don't feel she's fully tested. If they'd have come to her, what would she have found? She's winning pretty untested. So she looks to be very hard to beat in that race.
The query now is just, is there an emerging horse, the one that we haven't quite just seen yet? There were a lot of very impressive trialists at Pukekohe last week, including the horse Caesar Days that Sam spoke about, but there were others that were impressive there. So we'll see a maiden 2-year-old at Ellerton next weekend, which might be a really hot race, and there might be one emerge out from there.
It's hard to do, though. This late in the 2-year-old campaign is to have your run and 2 weeks later back up into a high-pressure race like a Sistema. All I hope is that we get a good full field. Yeah. I hope everybody gives it a go, because behind Lara Antipova, you're a huge chance of running a Group 1 placing because it's very even and everybody's beatable. As we know, it's horse racing.
How would Liam Birchley be feeling right now? He must be looking over here and saying, geez, I've just won a Karaka Millions. Maybe I should be going back to Auckland.
Yeah. It wouldn't be the worst idea. I mean, to pick up a Group 1 win that early in the campaign, it's, wouldn't be the worst idea.
Well, and it'd be great for the race as well. So, Liam, jump on the plane. We can continue to look back at Matamata, a couple of other races that we do want to take a look back at. The Wairere Falls Classic, won here by Onorico from Leroy Brown, Frank the Tank and Archaic Smile.
Good win, wasn't it, from he's also handled the wet track at New Plymouth last time and running second in a Taranaki Cup. Madana's thing was, we interviewed him afterwards, like I thought he would be a little bit more animated, but it was like he expected it to happen. Really nice run from Leroy Brown, just gets run down, but I thought a really worthy winner of a $350,000 race.
Yeah, was coming back from a couple of really solid placings at Group 3 level and was back a distance to the 1,500 metres. So it was actually probably a pretty well-deserved victory for Enrico, and obviously they had that favourable run in transit throughout the race. I thought there were some really good eye-catching runs in behind those two. Archaic Smile was just wide with no cover throughout. Frank the Tank made ground. Even Chattahoochee from the tail of the field on a day when we weren't seeing horses make up ground necessarily was very good. So it's a really difficult day to assess because there's so many in the Stewards report didn't handle the track. Yeah. And that's going to be hard as we move forward and we use this meeting as a form reference because potentially can sort of ignore this run on the heavy conditions when we get back on a good surface.
The section was backing up what you were saying. Frank the Tax run the quickest last 800, 600, 400, 200. Chattahoochee was the second quickest last 600. So, yeah, absolutely exactly what Emily said.
We also had the listed Kaimai Stakes on the card at Matamata yesterday, won here by Diamond Jack from He's a Doozy Doddle and Fly My Way. Such an honest horse is Diamond Jack. 23 times out of his 40 starts he's finished in the top 4. This is his 8th win as well.
I just love the ride on Diamond Jack. I don't think he knew what hit him out of the barriers because Rory Hutchings was like, we are going forward and we are putting you in this race. And you could see him sort of a little bit not knowing what was going on, but when he got to the front and he relaxed and he pricked the ears, he looked like he was really enjoying himself bowling along out in front. It just played totally into his favours with the way the track conditions fared, and obviously not normal for him to be so handy.
So many times we'd seen Diamond Jack through this preparation miss the start, and he's been back, 4 and 5 lengths last. This time he's run the quickest first 400 metres. I don't think he'd ever done that before.
It's worth going back to look at the start of the race, because honestly I don't think he knew what was going on when he jumped, and he was just drilled out of the barriers.
We did speak to Rory afterwards, and he said, I didn't really intend to lead, I just wanted to be there, but then he got there and he was able to dominate, and then he travelled so well too. He travelled beautifully around the top bend, and again he's been one of those horses who's run the quickest first 400 and the quickest last 8 through 200.
He's been a great performer. He's an 8-time winner now. He's won $350,000. I mean, what a horse to have in training, and no doubt they were rubbing their hands together when the track conditions were deteriorating.
And just a word around Mark Brosnan. He does such a good job. He's so understated. He is the real farm boy trainer. He doesn't like to get out of his, but he's had a Group 1 winner before, and he's had another horse in Sterling Express who ran so well at Group 1 level the other day, and maybe he goes to now what will be a super hot Ōtaki Māori weight for age next weekend. But he's doing a really good job with his horses, and to him and Yolanda, they deserve some real credit for their work.
Yeah, well said, Aidan, indeed. We will take a break here on Weigh In. On the other side, we're going to look at all the action out of Australia and also out of Invercargill, where we saw not only the Southland Guineas, but a wedding on Valentine's Day.
Around they come. Princess Rain grabs Miss Starlight. Here's Luna Capella, then Kisiera. Luna Capella with Princess Rain. Hello Hayley's coming on late, then Kisiera. Luna Capella. Hello Hayley for the upset. Hello Hayley won the Southland Guineas, beat Luna Capella.
Very impressive. I did think she was a wee bit underdone, but no, she's got the job done. She's a good wee girl.
How difficult is it doing the job you are as a clerk on a race day and having a horse in a feature race like this? And where did you watch it from?
Oh, I watched it from the corner. Yeah, it's pretty tough, but I get it done. And this is my first day back as well from rupturing my calf muscle, so I've been out for a while. The other clerk, Sarah Beck, she's been riding her for me, so all credit to her. She's done a great job.
Yeah, one of the great stories out of Southland Guineas Day down at Invercargill yesterday, or probably the best story out of the Southland Guineas yesterday, of course, Sophie Price, clerk of the course and training Hello Hayley to success in the listed feature yesterday. And watching this, look, I won't say that I thought Hello Hayley was going to win the race before the race, but about here, all you were thinking was if Hello Hayley gets out, she has a great chance of winning this race. She was desperate for room.
And not only was she desperate for room, but she was tailed off last in running early in the race, and then met traffic up the straight, and as you said, just needed the gaps to appear, and they did. The Red Sea parted and was able to get through and get up and score with that really good late burst. I think a lot of credit goes obviously to the work that the team have done with Hello Hayley, but the blinkers went on and that's just made a huge difference. Both obviously Donovan Cooper commenting on that. Just had the 6 starts but the 2 wins, but has been racing actually pretty consistently all the way through. Started the career up north with Lance Noble and was sent down south and picked up this big win in the Southland Guineas for the daughter of Hello Yumzane. And as you said, for Sophie Price, what a story, but stressful to watch. She's probably glad she was watching it from her position in the corner, because if you're watching on the TV, you just thought, how is Hello Hayley going to win? And if she'd run 3rd, 4th, 5th, it would have had the red light flashing. But no, very good performance. Closely related related actually to Tiakau Shark. So
yeah, I saw that too, yeah.
Nice connection with regards to the pedigree and a huge moment for Sophie Price.
Yeah, it really is. She's a really capable trainer. She does a good job with not many horses. I think she won 8 races one season, but she doesn't have a big team around her. That was a really impressive performance in a field that had some depth. Just looking through the quick sectionals, obviously the quickest closing, but it was a good patient ride too from Donovan, wasn't it? I know he sort of got himself into maybe a little bit of an awkward spot, but he chose his path and then he stuck to his guns and got the gap.
Hello, Hayley from Luna Capella, Princess Rain and Perfect Habit. We move along to the other feature out of Invercargill, and that is, of course, the Invercargill Gold Cup over the 2,600 metres, and Smooth Operator blew them away.
This was a little bit of a less stressful watch because Smooth Operators just tracked up in behind the leaders and powered away. That's a 6.2 length margin that Smooth Operator's able to put on the rest of the field. There was no speed in the race, and early on he was sort of racing and over-racing and doing a few things wrong with the lack of tempo, but late in the piece for Tina Komniagi has just really got to the line in great fashion. Obviously in the spring contested the New Zealand Cup and had that brief freshen, and from there has just built and has been knocking on the door to get a win like this, and does it. Maybe didn't expect it to be in quite this fashion, Aidan, with the way that he has powered away, but has done it very well.
One thing was just able to get into the right position. Sometimes this horse has got a long way back. We know the type of finish that he does possess. Hats off to Stephanie Faulkner and the job that she's done with this horse, but again, it's a really confident Tina Komniagi ride. I thought Noble Knight was there to win this, and just at the weight, I thought that maybe Noble Knight was the one, but boy, Smooth Operator was really emphatic in the end, and yeah, who knows? That opens some doors surely to do some Cups races.
Yeah, you'd probably think so. Smooth Operator from Noble Knight. Party and Caffeinated. That is New Zealand review done and dusted. So now we head across the ditch and we start with the Group 1 Black Caviar Lightning at Flemington. This was won by Tentaris from My Gladiola, Benedetta and Barraquil. And you don't see 2-year-olds do this very often.
I don't know if there's a better 3-year-old colt in training at the moment. Off the back of that win in the Coolmore Stud Stakes, Tentaris picks up right where he left off. They were just happy to let the race unfold in front of them and settle at the tail of the field, which we've sort of become accustomed to. The best work was definitely late. That is also what we've become accustomed to. It's just here at this moment when he just lets down and puts a really good field of Group 1 performers away with great conviction. It's that electric late turn of foot. 5 wins, 2 placed efforts just from the 8 starts. Obviously, he's going to be a future Darley Stallion. Tentaris, he's earned sort of that 2.5 million mark. Now, the new market, as we heard from Connections, is on the agenda, but the weight will be dependent. And for the son of Street Boss, he's got the world as his oyster in terms of what he can do sprinting. Looking forward to the options for him heading forward.
For having that breeding with that stallion career in front of him, the only thing you want to see from him is performance and a turn of foot. And he's performed obviously at Group 1 level, but that turn of foot is electric. To come from where he did with a sustained sprint late, just super performance from a really classy horse.
The debate started over in Australia about whether they should go to Ascot or whether they aim up to take on Kaying Rising in the Everest.
Do what you want with him. I think he's well capable. He looks like he's a superstar.
Yeah, no, certainly is. We move along to the Apollo Stakes over in Sydney, and we think Tentaris is good, and he is, but wowee, Autumn Glow is something else. Unbeaten now from 9 starts.
Incredible horse, and obviously this was her first effort at weight for age level, so it was great to see her sort of tick that box. She's just got that wonderful action and the way she lengthens and stretches out. It was a pretty uncomplicated performance where she powers away to a great victory. Sort of run out of superlatives with a horse like this. Obviously, post-race, James McDonald gave comparisons to her attributes and demeanour and what makes her a good horse, and he said he's only ridden a couple that have possessed those attributes, Animo and Romantic Warrior, 2 of the very best that he's partnered. So very much positive when it comes to what she's doing. They feel like she's just really the finished product now, and the path for her, they're electing to go to the Very Elegant next at the mile, and then there's the George Ryder before they make the decision to go to the 2,000 metres in the Queen Elizabeth or stick at that mile distance of the 1,600 metres, and I guess she'll sort of tell them what she wants to do. There's no better trainer than Chris Waller to handle a horse like her. 9 from 9, and Chris said in his interview that you don't know where they're at before their first run, but it's great that she's on target. There's a little bit of news surrounding Joe Pride's runner in Chow Wolf, who came sixth. They requested an endoscopic examination of the 4-time Group 1 winner, and he was found to have suffered a bleeding attack, but on discovery of that, they then looked further, and there was none in the throat and the windpipe. It was just in the nostril. So whether they give him a 3-month ban or not is up for discussion at the discretion of the stewards, and they reserved to make a decision on the matter. So they weren't intending to impose that mandatory ban straight away, though.
One thing about her, she's just becoming a real poster girl. She's so popular, and she's one of those horses that racing needs. You know, one that we can really hang our hat on and be saying, I've got to be in front of my TV to watch her because, you know, she's so exciting, and, you know, I think poster girls is just the best way of summing her up.
It is, and we need these good horses in racing to get you in front of the TV and sticking with the topic.
Well, we've got well written here, don't we? And they now maybe have this one. And sometime there might be a little clash coming up. Beat
the drum, get excited.
Okay. That's, the other thing, obviously, for our field stud is that it would have been a pretty difficult week. They lost their wonderful mare in Miss Finland during the week, but no doubt this would have been some good tonic for them with Autumn Glow obviously doing what she's able to do. So a wonderful mare that Miss Finland was, and she was 22, so apparently she died pretty peacefully in her paddock, which is good to hear.
Speaking of wonderful mares, Joliestar is certainly proving she is that. The Group 2 Expressway Stakes, and James McDonald put her into the right spot, getting a trail into it, and wowee, she was magnificent.
This was awesome watch, wasn't it? Because Cabalas put a good margin on the rest of the field under Tommy Berry, skipped away, and you thought maybe he'd stolen the race. But James McDonald didn't panic. He didn't go around a horse. He just stuck to what he was doing. And it's just late when you see that real powerful burst by her. And she's got that wonderful fresh form, and she showed that once again. And Chris Waller just saying that she's the full package now. She's the mature horse, and last year she just was still doing a few things wrong, and that she wouldn't settle and relax, and everything just seems to be right this year. Obviously, she won that Newmarket handicap last year at Flemington, and they're not sure whether she'll go down and defend her title in that race. They're thinking the Canterbury Stakes at Randwick in 3 weeks' time. So she's got some nice targets ahead of her. She's won, the Kingsford Smith. She's won, obviously, the Newmarket, and she won the 1,000 Guineas over the mile for Brendan and Joe Lindsay at Cambridge Stud. What a wonderful mare she's been for them, an excitement machine. And I know they're indicating that they may be thinking of heading to Europe, to Ascot, which would be pretty exciting. And what a mare to bring back to the broodmare paddock in years to come.
She's embellished another fantastic fresh-up record. She performed so well in that state, but boy, she's been so fast late as well. And in the end, I think James McDonald's been able to really ease her a little bit late too. But you know, she's gone 10.96, 10.68 in the 200 splits from the 600 to the 200, that's when she's put the race to bed.
That wraps Australia, but just before we get to a break, some news in the last 24 hours or so around the Asian Racing Conference being held in New Zealand in 2028. A pretty significant piece of news.
Yeah, that's really good, isn't it? And this is the first time we've had the Asian Racing Conference held in New Zealand. It's going to be held in Auckland as it was back in 2008. That was announced at the end of the last one, which is I think up in Saudi, wasn't it? Ahead of the Saudi Cup meeting, which was on earlier today, or was it
6:40 a.m.
6:40.
Yeah,
I missed
forever
it.
young.
I missed it. I was driving.
Was one, yeah.
Yeah, but it's obviously it's such an important fixture, and there were a few things raised at the end, certainly in closing addresses, things that racing needs to be embracing the future, and part of that was also around how they work with broadcasting, which is obviously key for us at Trackside, but they need to engage with the customer through either AI methods or broadcasting or through other consumer means. So some really interesting topics, and that's always brought up. Welfare's always a big thing in those as well, and it's something that racing really needs to front foot, and to have to do that at home for New Zealand is hosting that Asian Racing Federation will be pretty important.
Yeah, 2028, it will be a significant moment to have that here in New Zealand. Rightio, we get to a break. We just mentioned the Saudi Cup. We can show you Forever Young's win.
It is Forever Young and Nisos who settle down now, move clear from racing in third place Bishop's Bay. Tumbarumba stays on. Forever Young grinds his way to the 200. Nisos begins to wobble. Forever Young a length and a half clear. Forever Young, Nisos not going away, but is Forever Young towards the line. Forever Young, forever in equine history. He wins for Japan. Forever Young for Ayushi Sakai and Yoshita Yahagi, winner of a Saudi derby, and now back-to-back wins in the Saudi Cup.
Welcome back into the last few minutes of weigh-in, but we can't leave you without our moments of the week and our Weight Watchers, of course. So we'll start with our moments, and Emily, you're up first.
Well, I went with the Australian autumn launching. I love New Zealand racing, and it is delivered in spades this year, but I just thought yesterday was sensational. Tentyrus was just so electric. He's got the world at his feet. Then you had Joliestar. Then you had, obviously, Autumn Glow and Excitement Machine 9 from 9. It's just so exciting to have this top-quality racing back in action.
Certainly.
Lucky we didn't have a horse with winter in its name. Otherwise, you'd have to do something winter, wouldn't you, rather than Autumn Glow and make a little puns there. Anyhow, I'm going to go to yesterday's. I just thought there was so much pressure on Lara Antipova. She was an unbeaten horse. She just lived up to the hype. I thought she was terrific. And when we hear Sam Bergerson talking this morning about her being, potentially, one of the best 2-year-olds to go through the stable in recent times, and considering what they've had there, I thought she was terrific. So she's my moment.
Yeah, and in those Fortuna Racing colours, obviously, the Melody Bell wore. Mine is, we've already talked about it a little bit, but Sophie Price training the Southland Guineas winner in Hello Hayley, and of course being Clark of the course as well. There she is right there. I love these stories, and that grin just says it all. So Sophie, well done to you. That was my moment of the week. What about our Weight Watchers team? Emily, you're up first again.
Well, I'm going with Frank the Tank for my Weight Watcher from that Wairaroo's Falls Classic, and obviously made some good ground late. Now, I was very buoyed to hear Aidan's comments on the sectionals as well. That only added to my case, but made good ground, and I think it's only third up, or was second up in the preparation last time, so I think it's still a little bit of improvement, and a win's not far away.
It just wasn't easy to do yesterday, so I think I'm going to follow you in there. And there's another one, exactly the same sort of pattern, one who's sort of, a little way off the fence and making good ground. Lux Libertas was good, but look at the closing part where our Jamala goes past. I just thought one that, you want to keep an eye on as well. So I think yesterday, that's what you're looking for, those horses who were able to come off speed and hit the line, and I think we've both found one each.
Well, I'm all down south for my two segments here, and this is Woodlands in the maiden in race 2 in Invercargill. The field got fairly strung out, and this horse was quite a bit back, ducked to the inside, and as you can see here, finished off this race really well. Obviously a bit behind the winner, but still hits the line well, and might be a horse that I will follow on out of here. Rightio, those are our moments of the week, and our Weight Watch is done and dusted, which means weigh-in is done and dusted for another week. We will see you next week on the back of what's going to be a fantastic day at Ellerslie. See you then.
Just in case is home here in the Fairview Matamata Slipper, and it bolted in two at the line. 3 from 3 for Lara. Lara Antipova cruises it in. It's still My Lips Are Sealed, and Rory Hutchings to win the Lisa Jiddick Champagne Stakes.
All he needed was room. His eyes are like angels, and he raced away. One smooth operator wins. Hello Hayley for the upset. Hello Hayley won the Southland Guineas.